Hibs in Edinburgh. So first question, Paul, is you started your youth career at Hutchinson Vale in Edinburgh, which of course is one of like the most well-established youth teams in Edinburgh. What were your kind of memories of your time there when you were younger?
Oh, to be honest, nothing but great memories. Love my time playing at that boys' club. Obviously, I was there from maybe 5-6-year-old until the end of the 14 season. So spent a good bit of time through my youth career there. Had an amazing coach in Tam Smith, who's kind of the club leader there, and I'm part of a good team as well. So no, I loved every second of it, and not just the football side of it, but the social side and the kind of grounding that you got at Hutchie was amazing, and kind of life lessons as well as football lessons as well. So I feel very, very fortunate and lucky to have been at such a great club when I was kind of learning my skills, I suppose, as a young boy.
Yeah, so you went from the Hutchie youth scheme into the Hibs youth scheme afterwards, and then made your debut in 2008. How much do you remember in the kind of lead up to the game and the day itself overall? Do you remember much from back then?
Yeah, well, I left Hutchie at, like, as I said, the start of the under-15 season, and I also had a couple of seasons before going full time, leaving school and going full time, and then for then on, really, for the minute I left school, my main focus was to make my debut in the first team. That was all I was focusing on. That was what I was desperate to do, and also just kind of prove myself in the under-19s team, and had a few appearances in the reserve team as well, and just kind of, you get to a stage where you've worked hard and you've kind of got yourself to a level, but you do need a bit of luck potentially to get into the first team. If there's people ahead of you that are playing well, then the chance might not come along, and I believe that's probably happened to a few players that I played with at my age group, where had they been given a chance at a certain time, that they may have went on and had really good careers at Hibs. And I was kind of just fortunate enough where I'd been playing in midfield and at boys club level, and the coach who was taking me to under 15s ended up being the under 19s coach as well. So he kind of right away saw something in me that could potentially be a defender. And originally I was thinking, nah, that's not for me at all. I'd only ever thought about playing in midfield, and I was in a good touchy team where I was thinking about going forward all the time, and all of a sudden someone's telling me I'm a defender. So originally I was thinking, like, that's not going to work for me. But no, I was lucky that I came in full time, and by this time I'd played a few games in the youth teams as a defender, left back, sometimes a couple of games at right back, centre half as well. So I was kind of learning my trade in the positions. And it came out, as I said, I had a few games in the reserves, and 𝗪𝘁𝗰𝗲𝗯 had just been announced as the new Hibs manager. So it was his first match, and David Murphy was carrying a knock, and Hanlon Stevenson had a knock as well. So I still find it amazing that 𝗪𝘁𝗰𝗲𝗯 on his first game as a manager for Hibs, where he was an absolute legend, he chose me, a player who'd never played, a 17-year-old who'd never played first team football, to play left back in his first game. So I think it would have been easy to kind of throw a more experienced player and saying, kind of, do me a favour for this game and go in there. But all credit to him, and he was brave and he threw me in, and that's something I'll be obviously so grateful to him for the rest of my career, that he had that bravery to throw me in. And the match itself was Scottish Cup game against Inverness. It was just kind of, it's a bit of a blur now, probably. I can remember kind of snippets of the game, but I ended up getting, I think it was 65 minutes, getting cramp in both my calves. Just pure, like, adrenaline, nerves, excitement, everything coming out at once, and by 65 minutes I was done. So I think by that time it was 2-0 in the game, and it finished 3-0. So a great day all round, really.
Dream debut. Just whilst you're going down memory lane, like, what advice or wisdom would you give the Paul Hanlon of 2008 if you could?
Go back to then now, I'd probably say believe in yourself a bit more. Looking back now, I'd probably say that I probably took too long to accept and realise that I was a first team player, or good enough to be a first team player. I'd say, like, obviously I'm at a stage now where I'm 31 and played numerous games now, but I think it took me too long to really believe in myself and believe within myself that I was good enough to play at that level. So I'd say if I was kind of sitting now the night before my debut, then that would be my advice to myself.
Yeah, just thinking how many games you played now, because you're now 10th in the all-time appearance list for Hibs. Like, say someone I told you that 13 years ago. Like, how do you think you'd reacted to hearing that?
I'd be delighted. I'd be absolutely over the moon. I said I was a Hibs fan growing up as well, so to get one opportunity to see my name on the back of a Hibs strip and play in a professional game was incredible. So, I would have been amazed and shocked, but absolutely over the moon if you had told me that. That I'd have so many games under my belt for a team that I supported growing up. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely kind of like a dream you kind of go and then play for your boyhood team and be able to achieve such highly for the team. What's your kind of match day routine like? At the start of each game, do you have a kind of routine or meals or specific music playlists to listen to in the run up to each game?
Yeah, I'll probably have a few kind of routines. Probably just kind of stick. I wouldn't say identical every Friday night, but the majority of what I'm eating the night before games is the same every week. And then into a match day, I'd say a few years ago I kind of changed my diet a bit on match days and went probably. I had this. I think when you're younger, you probably think, right, you're playing a game of football, you need all the carbs you can get and hammering pasta in. And when I kind of changed to like, my last meal before a match, I don't eat any carbs anymore. I try and have my carbs early the night before or in the morning of a game. And I feel that helped me a lot. So that's probably a routine I'm in now where I'd say my last meal before a game is probably like kind of like salmon, eggs and beans. No kind of pastas or toast or anything like that. And then there's a few things in terms of like how I get changed, but I'd say it's more routine rather than superstition. If for any reason I do something in a different order, then it's not going to throw me too much. So
Yeah.
it's probably just routine. But I think if you asked any football player how they kind of get ready and how they prepare for games and training, then we're all in kind of routine. We're all kind of creatures of habit that way, where we kind of like to stick to what we know and try and do, especially if something works. If you win if I won last week, I'd be looking to do the exact same this week. So it's kind of that's how it works.
Yeah, I can imagine that you want to keep the same thing. Just going back to how you said that you started off as a midfielder, you know, in your career, you've scored a couple of goals. Is there any kind of goals that really kind of stand out to you that you almost think, you know what, if I was a striker, I'd be proud of that one?
I'd probably say I've scored maybe just as many with my feet as I have with my head. So there's probably been a few like quite nice finishes that maybe strikers would like, but I had one goal against 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗯𝗲. It was one of the last games of the season, and we needed to win. We're in a kind of relegation battle at the time. It was us and 𝗙𝗰𝗲𝗯𝗲, and we ended up beating them 4-0 at home, and I scored the fourth goal. But what happened is I've ended up breaking out to the back and passing it wide, and I followed my run on the edge of the box, and the cross came in, and I volleyed it with my right foot. It's hit the bar, went down, and the linesman gave it, but it was like a yard. It wasn't in anyway. It was a yard ahead of the line. But the linesman gave it as a goal, so I'm away celebrating. And it wasn't until after the game you realise it was nowhere near going in. But that's probably technique-wise, that's my best goal, even though it didn't cross the line.
Wouldn't count.
And if it did, it would have been my best career goal by a mile.
Yeah. And then earlier, late last year, you were in the Scotland squad, and you made your first appearance in Scotland. How different was it to be kind of actually in and around playing the team than actually sitting at home and watching the game for once? Does it feel different?
Yeah, completely different. Obviously, kind of growing up under 19s and 21s, I had loads of caps at their levels, played loads of games, and loved going to all these different countries and representing Scotland. It was something I was really proud of, and throughout my first team career, I've been desperate to get in that full squad. I'd been in the squad once before, on the bench, and never got on. So then this time, delighted to be called up. Was called up quite late into the squad. There was a few call-offs, suspensions, and injuries, so called into the squad, and I was sitting on the bench, probably getting to the stage where there's 15-20 minutes to go, thinking I'm not sure I'm going to get on here. We're holding on a 1-0 lead. But the next minute, Steve Clarke turned to me and said that he wanted me to go on, and they were putting a lot of high balls into the box, and I just wanted me to go on, kind of like a left wing back, really, but really just to sit in narrow and defend the crosses. So I absolutely delighted to get on the pitch. Amazing experience. Up there with whatever I do in my career going forward, that Scotland trip will be one of my most treasured items. So amazing experience, and delighted I finally got that cap that I was desperate for, kind of ever since I finished playing with the under-21s, to be honest.
Yeah, and I can imagine it would be quite like a thrilling experience to actually get to play for your country, and in like such a pivotal moment of the country, and how the momentum you build up going to the Euros this summer, you know. But just kind of thinking, you know, like you're not going to play forever as much as I think you'd want to, you know. Have you given any kind of considerations for what you want to do once you retire, you know, when that eventually comes?
Yeah, I've given a lot of thought about it. Probably the wrong side of 30 now. Just turned 31 in January, so once you get into these years as a football player, you know, it's kind of the latter stage, if you want to call it, maybe the last third of your career. And I obviously like to think I've looked after myself quite well. Touch wood, I've had a not too bad injury history. So I've just got to kind of look after myself as best I can, and hopefully I can keep playing as long as I possibly can. And I love playing. I really love playing, and hopefully that I can keep that going. And kind of, it's all to do with your body as well, really. Obviously, I'll need to keep getting contracts somewhere, but as long as my body's fit and healthy, and then I'll kind of keep going. And in terms of after I do finish, I've done my B licence coaching courses. I'm working through my A licence at the minute, which I've really enjoyed. Looking forward to really giving the coaching a bash, and kind of seeing if I'm any good at it, to be honest. I had a lot of plans to try and start coaching within the Hibs Academy this season, really, but COVID's kind of knocked that on the head at the minute. So that's pretty disappointing. But as I said, I'm working through the A licence, but most of it's online at the minute. Really enjoying it, and then I'm doing an online degree at the same time.
Okay,
which is business and enterprise and sport, which is kind of focuses on setting up a business, organising how a business works, and it all relates to kind of sport as well. There's psychology modules on it, bits on leadership, so there's a lot that I can kind of link to coaching. And if I was kind of in a workplace where it was maybe completely separate from football, whereas when I finish it, there's not loads of roles available within football. So I feel by doing this degree, I'm kind of preparing myself for both avenues, where there's plenty of aspects of it which will help me on a coaching side of it, but there's also loads of aspects that I'm going to learn about in terms of business and things like that as well. So and at the same time, it's given me a good focus off the pitch as well. There's a lot of pressure for playing for Hibs and playing professional football as well. So I feel that when I kind of sit down at night and do a bit of studying, it takes my mind off it a bit.
Yeah, so you've definitely looked at what you want to do in the future. But how about the Hanlon Stevenson Foundation? Will you be able to maybe tell me a bit about how it started and what is you do currently at the moment? You yourself and Lewis Stevenson, yes.
Yeah, it was between me, Lewis, and a few of the guys that helped run our testimonial committees. So no, they've done an incredible job throughout our testimonial years, and organised some great events. And at the end, at the start of Lewis's year and at the start of mine, we both knew that we were looking to kind of give a bit back to charity, different charities. So we both done that, and then there's still money left over that we thought kind of came together. I think it was Graham, who's it was the chairman of the Testimonial Foundations. He the testimonials, sorry. He kind of put the idea to us about a potential foundation, and we looked at it, had good discussions, and kind of came up with the same sort of ideas. So that's when it kind of got the ball rolling. And our kind of idea at the minute is just trying to help as many kind of underprivileged, less privileged kids in the Edinburgh area as we can, really. Where that's, I'd say, mostly around kind of involvement in sport, but there is other avenues as well that have been going down, especially through kind of COVID and things like that as well, where there isn't as much kind of football activity going on. So it's the main focus is helping kids, and especially in the kind of as I said, less privileged areas of Edinburgh, try to give them a helping hand and a bit more involvement in sport.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking, like, the multiple charities together, we can make a difference. Like, what are some of the differences that you've been able to make so far whilst working with the charity, whilst that's the charity, working with other local charities?
Yeah, exactly. We've worked with a lot of other charities around Edinburgh that are already doing a lot of really good work. We first started a partnership with Street Soccer Scotland to provide football for kids in these areas, and we funded an additional coach for them. So by having this additional coach, it meant they can put on so many more sessions across Edinburgh and benefit so many kids. So we actually went along and looked at a lot of sessions. So in Wester Hailes, and we went and watched one of the sessions, and the guy was kind of explaining, one of the coaches that was already there was explaining how when these kids were leaving school, they were just basically causing mayhem on the way home on the streets, and just being disruptive, and just doing things they shouldn't be doing on their way home from school. But having this kind of coaching, it's more like a drop-in session. There was no one being forced to go, but having that option there to drop in and say, drop in for an hour and play some football, it kind of focused them a bit more, and probably just used up a bit more energy, to be honest. And they went home happy after that. So that's one of the big differences I think we made by funding this additional coach for Street Soccer Scotland. And I think by doing that one coach, that person's now in touch with so many kids across Edinburgh that'll make a difference to them, give them that kind of opportunity and platform to play a bit of football. And there's other ones as well. We've done a lot of work over lockdown, things like that, with key workers. We had a big project. Walker Shortbread were kind enough to drop off. I think it was 5,000 boxes of shortbread.
Wow,
donated that much, so it's a lot of shortbread. And we had loads of volunteers that kind of distributed it to all key workers across Edinburgh, in the hospitals, care homes, hospices, emergency services. So that was good, and it's just kind of helping these charities, and kind of adding a bit of funding that can help them do what can to continue do the great job they're doing. So it's going well so far. Obviously, as I say, COVID's kind of put a bit of a bump in the road for the foundation at the minute, but it's we're doing as much as we can, and try to fundraise as much as we can as well.
Yeah, just, like kids who have been affected by COVID and can't really go out and play football or sports with friends anymore. Like, what kind of words of advice would you be able to give them to kind of, if you could say to them right now, like, what would you say to try to support them and help them? They can't really get out and play any sport.
Yeah, I think it's obviously it's a really difficult situation, especially for kids that potentially have been used to having organised sport, maybe having the routine of training 2 nights a week and playing at the weekend. That's great for all kids growing up, and to have that taken away is really difficult. But I think it's just about keeping active as much as you can. I mean, I think being outside and kind of burning energy, however you can do it, really is good for you. It does make you feel good about yourself. I know personally, when I'm kind of stuck in the house for a period of time, I get grumpy, I get moany, and start taking it out on people around me. So
I think that's all at this point, yeah.
Exactly. I just need to get out and kind of get a bit of fresh air and use up a bit of energy. So my advice would be to kind of just try and keep as active as possible. If you can always have a ball, if you've got a ball to yourself, you can always do a bit and practice a bit. That's easily done. So kind of keep on top of that sort of stuff. But I'd say just be as active as possible. I know it's difficult at times, but be focused and active, and hopefully it'll not be too long until we can do that organised football's back regularly.
Yeah, not long now. Just and then hopefully like post COVID, it'll be different definitely. But what's in the kind of future for the foundation is post COVID, once you can start going and moving forward again? Have you thought that far ahead, or are you?
It's probably more the same really. We've got a few ideas in terms of initiatives we want to start. Probably again football related, try to get these kids into probably more organised sport, and just probably just taking part and enjoying football. So there's a few ideas that we're kind of working on, and in terms of probably have to do a good bit of fundraising as well, because all the money that we get, we kind of don't get any. It's not as if we're getting grants left, right, and centre. It's any money that we give out. It's money that we've raised. So we'll need to do a bit of fundraising as well. And I mean, all credit to Graham and the team as well, that they put on some unbelievable events for myself and Lucy's testimonials. So we've got great people to raise to kind of organise these fundraisers when they can happen. And I think when the time comes to where kind of social distancing is a bit relaxed and we could have potentially like dinners and large events, then there'll be some incredible nights that we can raise a lot of money for, just again to help all these people that are doing a lot of good work around Edinburgh.
Brilliant, thank you. Thank you very much for your time tonight, and I wish you all the best luck with the rest of the season and
Thank you.
And thank you very much once again.
No problem.